Hey everyone. Welcome to Zoetic Chat. Unleash your life's journey with me, John Mayfield. This ultimate podcast for spiritual guidance will answer all your life, soul and spiritual questions. I'm thrilled to have you join me every week. My vast knowledge, wisdom and experience are crucial to your personal and spiritual growth. Together we will explore a variety of topics and delve deeply into the truths of my life and spiritual path. Don't forget to sign up to my newsletter at johnmayfield.com. Hey. Welcome to Season 1, Episode 4 of Zoetic Chat, Unleash Your Life's Purpose. You know, it's a glorious day here in the UK, but inside my tummy, I've got a bubbling, a little annoyance and something that I need to share and talk about with you in this episode of podcast Zoetic Chat. You'll hear me talk about having triggers in your life. And these can be words, there can be feelings, there can be emotions, there can be a food or a place that you go to or a certain type of tree. A trigger can be anything, and it always takes you back to a time in your life, usually where something wasn't so good. And it gives you this feeling in your belly of, something's not right. But it's not right for now. It wasn't right in the past, but you still have triggers. So I'm going to talk about one of my triggers today, and let's see if this triggers you or what your take is on it. And wherever you're listening to this, if you've got the chance to comment, then please do. For me, counsellor and counselling, does not sit right with me, because years and years ago, I had bouts of deep, dark depression, as I've told you before. And one of the times of this depression, the doctor really didn't know what to do with me in the surgery. And I remember him saying to me one day, as I turned to walk out the door, he says, "You know, Miss Mayfield, out of all the patients that I see in this surgery, you are the one that I'm most concerned about." And I'm thinking, that's not very good. But anyway, and I'm thinking, so I thought on, what are you going to do to help me? So he referred me to counselling or a counsellor. A counsellor is defined as a person trained to give guidance on personal or psychological problems. Well, I did have that. I was in a deep, dark place that I didn't want to be in, but I just could not claw myself out of it. In those days, I'm talking a good few years ago now, you know, they put you on antidepressants. You didn't really think about it. You took them and you were kind of living at this supported space because of the antidepressant, but also this space of wanting not to be on them and to live a, in brackets, normal life. But normal life to me at that time was deep, dark depression on tablets that gave me this kind of slight normality going on. Now, I was also just looking at counsellor on the internet, and it said counselling tends to be a shorter term, goal-orientated, and it addresses concrete, specific life changes. By contrast, a therapy tends to be a longer term, more exploratory and holistic, and it treats mental illness. Counsellors often specialise in a specific area. So looking back on that in hindsight, I would be thinking that the counsellor that I was given, only for 6 weeks, mind, and that was to cure all, was a counsellor, not a therapist and giving me anything holistic. Every single one of those sessions that I went to, I cried. I cried and I sobbed and I cried and I sobbed. I blubbered. I got through numerous amounts of tissues. And when I came out of there, I felt a million times worse than when I went in. It took me days to recover of how she'd spoken to me, what she'd made me talk about. And there was no end. It was a cycle. She wasn't breaking the cycle. Week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. And the same old, same old. I got to dread going. But if you didn't go to things like that then, or complete a program, then you were seen to be not helping yourself. So I did. Week 6, the same old, same old. I thought there was going to be a miracle on week 6 because that was the end of the course of counselling. What is this miracle that's going to happen? I remember thinking when I was driving there, how is she going to turn this around? I couldn't wait to see. I was so excited. The same old happened. Deep, dark, miserable. She got me regurgitating all my past. What comes into your mind now, Jan? What comes into your mind when I say this? And it was all my past. Everything. And I kept reliving it and reliving it and reliving it. But there was no solution, no tricks, no solution, no methods, nothing. It was just, let's just talk about it. It didn't make it any easier. Have you been there where it doesn't make it any easier for you? You just keep going over and over and over. Well, what triggered this podcast was on my social media recently. A lady came on. Now, when on my social media, TikTok, I'm talking about specifically at this moment, a lady came on and she said, Jan, how do I work out, how do I bring to the surface something that happened in my childhood to let go of it? And I said, why? Why do you need to bring that to the surface? Because over the years, I've taught myself how to release things without facing them, without going into a deep, dark hole, without repetitively bringing forward things that have happened in your past. I've cracked the code, if you like. So she said that her counsellor told her she'd got to do it. Her counsellor told her that she had to, for homework, reach deep inside herself and find the thing, the emotion, the action that took place when she was young, to bring that out. She couldn't do it. So clearly she'd buried it. But this counsellor wanted her to regurgitate it. She was at her wit's end. So in the mid live stream, which is where I was talking about holistic things, spiritual, giving a few readings, doing mediumship, all that kind of stuff. But I like these sort of questions. I like what I call meaty questions, something to dive deep into to help people. And I can help her. And I did tell her what to do. So this podcast, everyone, is going to be about spiritual counselling versus traditional counselling. But I put the word counselling after spiritual in inverted commas specifically for this podcast because of my experiences of having counselling. And we've talked about our subconscious mind before. We've talked about collecting things in your subconscious mind, good, bad, ugly, not so ugly, spoiled, traumatic. We've talked about this. Between the age of womb to 7 is where you collect everything. So womb to 7, if you can imagine that that's an archway from shoulder to shoulder going over your head, and it's full. It's full of all your experiences. Now, those experiences have happened. You've got an emotional connection to them because you have a feeling to that time in your life. So let's say, for example, what shall I say? The first time I walked to school on my own, I was scared. I was frightened. I was probably 4 or 5, I think 5, and I had a long walk. And I looked back and I could see my mother, a tiny little dot, standing in the road watching me, but she never took me. She watched me and waving her hand. I could see this hand waving in the air. It didn't make me feel any better. I still felt scared. So that scared feeling of walking somewhere on my own was always is inside me, and I have an emotional connection to that. So at any time in the future, it's possible that if I'm walking alone, I could get that feeling, because that is inside me, that scared, frightened, what's going to happen feeling when walking forwards on my own. That needs to be released. But I don't release it by keep regurgitating how I felt, crying and sobbing. I think about the emotional connection to that. And if you think of an emotional connection as a string connecting you, human, to an emotion that you've experienced. So we'll think of that emotion still in an archway, shoulder to shoulder, going over our head. And that's a holding ground for everything. But it's just normal stuff. You think you need it. You think you need to keep it. Sometimes you never revisit things. Sometimes you never let go. And you don't need to. But if you do need to, I'm going to talk with you now just how I would address something like this, an emotional connection to the past. I've worked on this on myself numerous times, and this is why I talk about it with you, because I know the way that I do it works. It works for me, and it can work for you. I can't say that it works for everyone because I've not done it with everyone, but everyone that I have worked with in this way has got specific changes released from the past and continued to use this way of releasing. Wow. Wouldn't you just like one of those tools in your toolbox? If I just pick up this tool, I can use this and it will release me from something that's blocking me that is connected to my past. I just think it's amazing. I just think it's amazing the way also we've been given things in life by someone. Who is that someone that decided this is how you counsel? This is how you give that therapy. This is how that happens. Who decided that? The same person that is the same as me deciding that there's an easier way to do things, because that person all those years ago that invented counseling would have had a problem and gotten over it. I hope they are working from experience. They would have gotten over it and thus going in to share it with other people. However, we are in the 21st century. How, why, what does something created all those years ago still work for us now? We're still human. We still carry emotion. We still have adventures. We still have experiences. But in many ways, we've moved on. So why aren't we moving on from counseling? I have to replace that word with something, because even when I said that, it flipped my belly. However, I didn't get the feeling of attachment to it. It was just a little flick, and it was like, oh, counseling in your past, but not, oh, counseling in your past. I believe that everyone can release what they know, what no longer serves them. I believe everyone can release their emotional attachment to something that happened in your past. And I believe you can do it with a quite a simple method. However, when you're using this simple method, it can invoke an emotion. It can make you feel angry. It can make you feel determined. It can make you feel courageous. It can make you feel sad. But when you've done it, you are elevated, ecstatic, and you are living in a place of, why didn't I do this before? space. So we're going to look at that now. So I'd like you to imagine you as the human, sitting or standing wherever you are. And I want you to imagine that there's a cord, a silver or gold, or I'm going to have a silver and gold twisted cord that is connecting me to my subconscious. Now, my subconscious mind, subconscious isn't an archway anymore over from shoulder to shoulder. It's come off and it's gone into a ball. So I am connected with a silver and gold twisted thread to a ball, which is my subconscious mind. Now, we don't need to release everything in there in one go. It might be quite traumatic, actually. So we're going to think of something that happened in recent times that we know we need to let go of an attachment to something because we can't move forward. Excuse me, sorry. So we know, for example, that the lady that got in touch with me, because she told me that she needed to regurgitate something to do with her father, we know for her it's father or him or anyone. So father did something to or around you in your life in the past. Whilst you are moving on in your life now, you could be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, it doesn't matter, 90. That regurgitates, that feeling regurgitates. So I can't move on. I've got a feeling in my belly, not sure what it is, but I know there's something. So at that point, you could come to see me, and I would intuitively, spiritually, and with the help of the other side, connect to the thing that's holding you back. So you know something's holding you back. I could connect and say, oh, that's father. Oh, that's mother. Oh, that's when you was 4, something happened around you. Or I could say, when you were 7, something happened. But I don't need to know what happened. And the person doesn't need to know either, because it might be something you've locked away forever and you can leave it locked away. Doesn't matter, because what's important is the emotional connection. If you think about something, if you let go of the emotion, you've just got something that happened. You've got an event, something that happened, and there's no emotional connection to it. Nothing. There's nothing connecting to it. So we let go of the emotional connection to release us from what happened in the past. It is possible to think about what happened and have no feelings. This isn't a one-time, let's get rid of it, boom, done. This is a let's work on this and keep doing it until I feel a change. I'm just going to take a drink. And just while you think about that, your emotional connection to something. That emotional connection. So let's say you're not moving forward in your life. You're very down, or you're just not moving forward. And somebody suggests maybe you go to counselling. They will regurgitate, or they are likely to regurgitate. I can't say that blanket for all counsellors. And some might come back at me and say, well, we're not all the same. You're not all the same. But in my opinion, from my experience and from all the people that I've worked with, the same thing happens. So I want you to just take an inhale now through your nose. Inhale into your Buddha belly. And then exhale through your mouth. So inhale, your belly goes out. Exhale, your belly goes back. And you don't have your shoulders lifting up to your ears. So inhale to your belly. Exhale, going back. Inhale. Oh. And really enjoy those breaths because they're hitting the places other breaths don't hit. So inhale again to your Buddha belly through your nose. Inhale, hold it, begin to exhale, slowly taking your belly back to your spine. As far as you can, as much as you can. And stop. Oh, and then take a natural breath. Now just breathe naturally. I want you to think about where you're stuck in your life, or just think the word stuck. Think the word I can't move forward. Think whatever comes into your mind. So when you're thinking about that now, how do you feel? Where do you feel it in your body? What color is it? What shape is it? Where does it hit your body? Mine always hit me in the belly. The worst possible things hit me in the heart. So did you feel it in your belly? Did you feel it in your head? Did you feel it in your heart? Or your legs, or your arms, or your chest? Where did you feel it? If you didn't feel anything, just do it again now. Just do your breathing in your inhales and exhales. And then think, where do you feel it? You will feel in your body somewhere. One of your fingers might move, your toe might twitch, your foot might feel like it wants to move, or you just might get a turning over in your belly. Whatever it is, that is your sign. You must savor that. You must feel that and keep that for now. So now we've still got the twisted gold and silver link to the ball. The ball has the answer to your feeling inside it. So this is how I would say it, but it depends on your belief. You can say, dear universe, dear God, dear angels, dear spirits, dear mom, dear someone else that's passed over, dear aliens, gods, planets, whatever your thing is. Or you can say, I say for people, dear universal energies. If I know someone believes in God, I'll say, dear God, or I'll ask them what they believe in. If they believe in nothing, I'll still say universal energies because I want to go to somewhere that isn't earthly. So this is how I will start. Dear universal energies, still visualize that cord from you to the ball, the lovely silver and gold twisted cord to the ball. The ball's floating around in front of you. It can be any color that you make it. If you saw a color, then place that color to the ball. Dear universal energies, thank you for allowing me to connect to my past and to the emotional connection that holds me to, then you have to say what you're stuck in now, holds me to my connection to, let's just say mother, my connection to mother. I am now ready to release all connections on all levels at all times, especially between the age of womb to 7 in this life. I am ready to release that emotional connection. Thank you. I am grateful. Show me. Once my connection is released, please fill me with love, with peace, with abundance, with self-worth, with magnitude, with dynamism and ecstasy. Thank you. I am grateful. So you will say that. You can also imagine some scissors or a knife hacking away at that cord. Or you can trust the universe to release you. I like to chip away at it with very, very tiny, very sharp scissors in my mind's eye. I pick away at each thread until it becomes one thread. So this can take you days of saying that I've just said, or record yourself saying and listen to it. It's better if you can say it. The louder and more buoyant you can say it, the more it seems to get into you. So you could go in the middle of a field and dance around the field and sing it. You can sing it, dance it, shout it. In your house, you know, it doesn't matter where you do it or what you do it. But if most, or in your car when you're driving, or you can listen to it over and over again. Because we're changing that thought pattern. We're letting go of what's keeping you stuck, what's not allowing you to move forward. So the more times you say it, the better it is. So let's just say you say this for a week, as much as you can, every day, morning, noon, night, just before bed, on waking. Make it a habit. And then on day 7, you connect to yourself like you did in the beginning. Do your breathing, connect to the thing, the problem, the stuckness. Where do you feel it? Has it gone? Is it different? Has it moved? What do you feel? If you feel like you can't sense it around you, but you've still got that emotional cord, go back and visualize that cord as tiny and snip it. Then the ball will bounce away and it's gone. The ball is the emotion for this exercise. You could have it as a balloon, a ball. It doesn't matter what it is. It's the cord that you are cutting, which is the emotional connection. If you can do it visualizing it without any cords, without any balloons or balls or anything like that, then do it that way. I didn't visualize anything when I did it with a female member of my family years ago. I kept saying, please release me, please release me. And I kept doing the saying that I've just given you, the strong affirmation. And when I did that, I just kept saying it, please release me, please release me. And I didn't see the cord with this one. And I didn't connect to a ball or a balloon for this, but it took me 60 something days. That's 3 months. But each time I did it, I knew that it was getting easier. And then one day I was sitting down and I said it out loud. I've got my eyes closed because I always get visions when my eyes are closed. And I saw this vision of this person walking backwards. They were going, as if you imagine they were standing in my head, but then they were going to the back of my head, walking. They were walking, and as they were walking, they were getting smaller and smaller. And then they reached a door, and they opened a door, and they went through the door, and I could hear them locking it. And I knew from that moment forward, whatever that person said to me, did to me, I would not hold for a long time. That person's still alive. It's not someone that's passed. When that person has said things to me since, I have got upset. But that was another bit that needed to release with that person. But what I released at that time for that person was amazing. And I can still see in my mind's eye that person walking through the door. So if I ever have any problems with that person, I actually go back to that vision and I just pop it into my mind and think, no, they've walked through the door's been locked, they can't hurt me anymore. So although some of the things they've done since then have stabbed me in my heart and given me that kind of a pain, that, you know, emotional pain, I get over it quicker. So I don't hold on to it for days, for months, for weeks, for years and make me stuck. It's like, oh, you shouldn't be saying that to me, but you've walked out of the door. It's that quick, maybe a day or two, not literally that quick, but sometimes it is. So spiritually releasing from things that hold you to the past is simple, effective, and essential in your life. Some things take hours, minutes, days, others take months. But if you persevere, You literally haven't got to face anything. So let's say, for example, if you had an abusive relative, and you know you needed to let go of that because it was affecting relationships as you move forward in your life, you can release the abusive relation if you know who it is, or if you feel you've been abused in the past but don't know who it is because you've locked it, you just blanket release abuse from womb to seven. That can be physical, mental, anything. You just release it in that same way. So it just takes some things take longer than others, and I don't. I think if it's deep seated, maybe if it's connecting to a parent, you think a parent shouldn't treat you like that, but they did, so it's harder to let go of. In your heart, you'll know you want to because and sometimes people can have a fear of how they're going to be once they've released. That's why we fill that released space with good things, good emotional feelings of moving forward, that you're worthy, that you're blessed, that you're happy, that miraculous things will now begin to happen. So fill the space, always fill the space. So you're asking for it, you're releasing it, then you're filling the space that you've released. So if you release something really big, it's like a big empty void. So we fill it with abundance, fill it with love, fill it with peace, and then self-worth and all of that success. And then you can move forward. That is how simply I release. That is how I help other people to release. And I can't say that that's spiritual counseling because I can't use the word, because it does invoke the memories of the past, but not the emotional connection to the past. So I think there needs to be a new word for spiritual, because I want to use that, or universal. What word can we use for that? Not universal releasing, because it is, but it's not enough. If you've got any ideas, let me know. You can email me or pop it in any comments wherever you've got the opportunity whilst you're listening to this. It's important that you are always working at the best version of you. The best version of you is inside yourself, connecting to your soul. So let it shine. Let it shine. I'm so proud that of all of you people, all of the people that have released, that have connected to me and released in this way, because you know that this is a tool that you can use forever. You can even tweak it. Like if you've got something going on in your life and you think, "Whoa, sure, this connects back to the past. It feels bigger than it should be for me now," then just do a little, let me release. And you'll get into the habit of doing it. So what you're doing is creating the habit to create the habit to release. I love that. Be happy and feel blessed. And I'll see you in episode 5. Hey, thank you for tuning in today. Your support is much appreciated. Please consider leaving a review, sharing on social media, and telling your friends about my podcast. You can also join my newsletter at johnmayfield.com. Remember, take what resonates from Zoetic Chat and enrich your life with wisdom in all areas. And stay tuned for the next episode.